What's up, book nerds? Welcome back to my channel. As I stated in my last video, I have a summer internship, and within our department there is a book club. So, of course, I joined it. The book for this past month that we all just read and discussed on was Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. So if I'm being honest, I've never really been in a book club before, and I am the youngest in the book club because I'm just an intern. So a lot of these books are books I would never choose for myself. I love fantasy, like Cassandra Clare, Sarah J. Maas, all that sort of stuff. So this was kind of a stretch, but I kind of really like it because it forces you to read outside your genre zone, like comfort zone, and it's kind of fun, and I liked the book. So this book is actually a mystery, and it's really weird and creepy, which is kind of just to leave you on cliffhanger after cliffhanger and mystery after mystery, which made me not be able to put the book down, so I did in fact read this in one weekend. The setting of this book is a small town in England, and it kind of switches between the past and the present, or then, like the title, and the present. The then perspective is Ellie Mack, and the now or present perspective is her mother, Laurel Mack. So I'm going to give the summary from past to present because it's just easier that way. So Ellie was about 15 years old, and she had a bunch of tests coming up, and she was kind of struggling in math, so she asked her mother to help her and get her a tutor, who is Noelle Donnelly. Noelle tutored her for a few months, and it was going really well, and Ellie was improving, and then Noelle started to ask some weird questions, and Ellie just didn't like it, so she told her mom, like, hey, just drop the tutor, I've got it from here, we will save money this way, I'm ready to go. Noelle, out of the blue, was fired, basically, and all was good until Ellie was walking down the street to the library one day, and Noelle happened to be there, and Ellie disappears. Basically, no one knows where Ellie goes, and there were no cameras on the street or at the time of the disappearance, no bystanders, anyone to see her visually disappear, what happened, and a lot of people, as in the police, kind of called it like Ellie was running away. Side story, she had an older brother and an older sister and a mom and dad, so her home life was good. So Laurel was just like, no, there's no way Ellie would run away, like, I know my daughter. Ellie, meanwhile, is with Noelle in her basement, actually. She was locked in Noelle's basement, which was across the street from where Ellie disappeared. So I mean, come on, like, you'd think there would be a full-on manhunt, search the basement of the nearby houses, but whatever. I guess I can't tell a policeman how to do their job. So Ellie is locked in Noelle's basement. Backstory, Noelle is in love with this writer named Floyd and has been seeing him for a long time, and she's had a miscarriage. Basically, the only reason Floyd is into Noelle is for sex. So at this point, Noelle is scared Floyd is gonna leave her unless she does have his child. So she stole Ellie for that purpose. She continues to sleep with Floyd and then inseminates Ellie, like drugs Ellie and inseminates her, and Ellie becomes pregnant, and as Ellie's getting pregnant, Noelle pretends she's getting pregnant, so she wears a bump. Ellie's life in the basement is very sad. She is basically given hamsters to take care of. Ellie doesn't even like hamsters, and the only person she ever talks to is Noelle, which isn't very good company, if I'm being honest. And Noelle sometimes like hits her and just feeds her junk, which isn't very good for carrying a baby. And it's rough. Noelle does get her, I believe, a TV for movies and then some books. So I guess there's like one bright side, but not really. I mean, you're just getting held captive. So after Ellie gives birth to Poppy, she names the girl, Noelle kind of just shuts the door to the basement, locks it, and like never goes back to Ellie. It's just kind of weird. Ellie kind of gives up too. So that's that. Ellie is left alone in the basement and dies and just rots away. Noelle then raises Poppy until Poppy's a few years old. Poppy hated Noelle, and so whenever she was with Noelle, which was most of the time, she would just be the worst girl. And then whenever she went to her dad's, to Floyd's house, she would act so nice, so proper, eat all the vegetables, that sort of thing. Noelle actually took Ellie's body eventually, like ran her bones over and threw them in a ditch. So that's just a side story. She also went to the Mac's house and stole a bunch of things she thought that Ellie would like or would steal from the house to make it look like Ellie did run away and was like just stopping back by to steal some things that she had forgotten. I don't know, you know, the mind of a psychopath, basically. One night, Noelle is planning on taking Poppy out of town, like leaving the country basically, so that Floyd cannot take Poppy from her, but Floyd figures this out and stops Noelle and is like, no, you're not taking Poppy anywhere. And then Noelle's like, why? Poppy's not even your daughter. Like, I found a sperm off the internet and I stole a girl and inseminated her. So, of course, Floyd's pissed off and his rage ends up to him strangling Noelle and killing her. And then he buries her bones in the garden and, you know, that's that. And he moves on with his life and him and Poppy are all good. But he's always like terrified that what Noelle said was true, that like Poppy was actually not his. So he starts to look into it and he realizes that a girl named Ellie did go missing and she looks a lot like Poppy. Flash forward to the present. Now we're going to talk about Laurel and the Macs once Ellie kind of went missing. As I said, Laurel kind of shut down. One day she happens to go to a little coffee shop and this man walks in and she thinks he's attractive. He sits down right next to her and then they start talking. It's Floyd, after he had learned about, you know, Ellie was probably the mother of his not true daughter, and so he tracks down Laurel, Ellie's mother. In the back of the story, he really says that he was going to just like tell her straight up, but he ended up talking to Laurel and was like, I don't know how to just tell a person like, hey, the girl I was sleeping with stole your daughter because of me, inseminated her, killed her, now I have your granddaughter, you know? You don't just say that over coffee, I guess. So they like talk and hit it off. They go on some dates. Laurel starts to become part of his life and part of Poppy's life, and she intermixes the Mac family and Poppy and Floyd. Laurel starts to find out things and starts to realize things, and the whole Mac family is like, Poppy really looks like Ellie did. Like, this is weird. And then one day, basically when Laurel figures it out, it's like near Christmas, she goes to Floyd's house. She's very nervous because she doesn't know what to expect. She basically knows kind of what happened, and Floyd has gone. He has told Poppy who she really is, and Floyd left her a video recording explaining the whole story, what I just explained. Said, you know, Noelle's bones are in my garden, like at this house. Poppy is yours, I'm leaving. Floyd does end up killing himself. He just doesn't feel like there's anything left for him because he kind of ruined a lot of people's lives. I mean, he killed one and kind of had a part in killing Ellie. So at the end of the day, Laurel, the entire Mac family got Poppy, or like, you know, out of Ellie's death and everything bad, there was light at the end of the tunnel, and that was Poppy. And then the last part of the book, Ellie had written while she was in the basement, held captive and pregnant, in one of the books that Noelle had gotten for her to read, that she loved her mother, she loved her family, she's so sorry, and kind of that Noelle had kidnapped her and she was pregnant, but she was a virgin, so she didn't know how that happened and all that stuff. And at the end of the book, someone at a library, I believe, actually finds this inscription, so it's very sad. I am going to go over some other important characters. So Paul Mac is Ellie's father, and he remarries to a girl named Bonnie after he divorces from Laurel. Hannah Mac is Ellie's older sister, and Theo Goodman is Ellie's boyfriend, or was Ellie's boyfriend throughout her junior high years. And in the end, Theo and Hannah actually get together, which is kind of weird because it's like your sister and your boyfriend once you're dead are now together, but at the same time it's kind of beautiful because, you know, they both held the same grief for Ellie, and that's kind of how they were brought together and healed from it. So I ship them. It's okay with me. Jake is Ellie's older brother, and he is with a girl named Blue, and Blue is kind of different. She kind of senses auras, and Blue actually senses an aura over Floyd while like their families are being brought together, like an evil aura. So like she sensed like maybe he was a murderer, maybe he was lying, you know. Those are kind of all the other important characters, just the other Macs who are involved throughout the story. The author did a great job. I will probably be reading more of her books now. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe tell me like what's your favorite genre, or recommend a new thriller for me to read since I enjoyed it so much. Thanks so much for watching today, book nerds. I hope you now want to go read this book if you haven't read it before, or maybe reread it. I'm all about rereads. Bye!
My eyes are open wide.